Yo, what's up guys, it's Lun-Gi. So today I'll be showing you a sick combo featuring Yubel Chimera. So this card is coming out in Legacy of Destruction, and so is this card. And both cards power up their respective decks. Yubel and the Chimera deck with Apprentice Magician. But you can actually combine the decks to make a really strong deck. So first I'll show you the OCG version of the combo, which features Phantom of Yubel, and then I'll show you a TCG version which doesn't have Phantom of Yubel. But both combos are extremely strong. So you basically need the field spell and then you need this card. Alright, so first up you will activate your Yubel field spell, Nightmare Throne, and then you'll activate its effect, and then you will destroy your Phantom of Yubel from the deck. Destroy Phantom of Yubel from the deck. Next, you will trigger its effect. So it will special summon the original Yubel from the deck. Alright, special summon the original Yubel. So next, what you'll do is you'll activate your Apprentice. You discard a random any card from your hand, any other card, and then you can special summon it. And special summon it this side. Special summon it, and then we will use its effect to search for. We can search for our Coatl. So then we'll activate Coatl, and then we will get Mirror Swordsman. Next, we will normal summon it, use its effect to tribute, and then we will special summon Gazelle from the deck. We'll trigger Gazelle's effect and search for Chimera Fusion. At this point, since Yubel is a fiend monster, we can just use it as material, and then we can fusion summon our fusion Berfomet. Alright, so fusion Berfomet will trigger. So Berfomet 1, Gazelle 2. With Gazelle, you can either search for, doesn't matter for this turn, but you can either search for Tower, or you could just search for another Apprentice for next turn. But let's just search for Tower. Alright, search for Tower, and then we will use our Berfomet to send Grave Squirmer, since it's a fiend. Next up, we will activate Grave Squirmer, banish it, and then we will special summon Phantom of Yubel. Then we'll use its effect to set Nightmare Pain from the deck. Then we'll activate Nightmare Pain, destroy Phantom, and then we will add another copy of Grave Squirmer. So we'll trigger Phantom of Yubel, Chain Link 1, Field Spell, Chain Link 2. So the Field Spell will add, and then you can special summon Yubel Terror Incarnate. And then Phantom of Yubel will special summon the original Yubel from the graveyard. So you summon back your Yubel from the graveyard. Now this zoning is very important. You want to try and use these exact zones like as much as possible, because you do want to free up your side zones for cross sheep. Right, so next what we can do is, since we haven't, we can just add back the Chimera Fusion. Next up, we can special summon Grave Squirmer. Special summon Grave Squirmer, and then we will link into Cross Sheep. Right, we'll link into Cross Sheep, and then we can overlay into your Beatrice. Overlay into Beatrice. So next up, we will use Beatrice's effect. We can detach Berfomet, and then we can send Nemeses Flag from the deck to the graveyard. Next up, we will use our Terror Incarnate and Phantom of Yubel. Alright, so put these back in the deck, and then we will summon Phantom of Yubel. So that will trigger Cross Sheep's effect. Trigger Cross Sheep, and then we will be able to special summon Nemesis Flag. Now its effect is an ignition effect, so then we'll activate its effect, and then that will allow us to search for Nemeses Corridor. Right, so we'll summon Nemesis Corridor. Right. So at this point, you have a number of options, right? So option number one is you can use your Chimera Fusion to summon your Fusion Gazelle, and then your opponent is forced to discard a card in the end phase. Or another option is you could simply just so instead of summoning this here, you could summon it here, I guess. You could simply just shuffle back your Grave Squirmer and then summon this, and then summon Colossus, and then set this, and then you can end your turn. So that is an option. Or you could turn these into Appaloosa if you want to play Appaloosa. Summon Appaloosa, and then special summon this, and then make Colossus, and then you can set this, because you'll still be able to fusion summon like Guardian Chimera or something during your opponent's turn to protect your Appaloosa from destruction. But for this combo, we'll just activate it. All right, summon Gazelle, activate its effect, and then we will just turn it into link material for IP Masquerena. Then we'll use our Nemesis Flag to shuffle back the Grave Squirmer. And then since it's a Thunder monster that activated its effect, we could simply just tribute it, and then we can special summon our Colossus. Right, special summon our Colossus, and then that will be the end of our turn. Right, so on the field, we've got Masquerena into SP Lun-Gi-Oh, we've got Colossus, no searches, and then we've got one, it's kind of like a negate, pseudo negate, but it turns your opponent's monster effect into some other effect to destroy a Yubel card. And in the graveyard, you've got some recovery with Grave Squirmer for next turn, and then you've got your Berfomet, and you've got your Gazelle to revive things. So you can activate Berfomet, revive Gazelle, and then activate Gazelle to you can activate Gazelle to revive something, and then chain Berfomet to revive Gazelle. So that would turn on your Mirror Swordsman. So you've got a number of different options. All right, so now it's your opponent's turn. So you kind of want to wait and see what deck they're playing first. So they play their first card, whatever it is. They play the first card. All right, so then you activate Beatrice's effect, and then you can send your barrier statue to the graveyard. All right, send your fiend barrier statue to the graveyard. Next up, you want to activate your Gazelle's effect, because it's a quick effect. So activate Gazelle by banishing it, and then you want to chain your Berfomet, right? Chain Berfomet, because you have a banished type. So you'll special summon your Gazelle back, and then its effect will resolve from graveyard. You'll special summon your barrier statue. All right, so now your opponent can only summon dark monsters. They can't search. You can negate 2 on-field monster effects. And then also you can protect from targeting, right? You can protect from targeting. So you can protect from targeting. So if they want to attack over, let's say they summon something that's stronger than the barrier statue, right? And they want to attack over it. So you can just activate Masquerena. You can go into SP Lun-Gi's effect, and then you can banish the monster that they had that could attack over this. So yeah, and then now they have to end their turn probably, and this on field is, so it's 2/6, 5/2, 7/3, 7/3. So next turn, all you need to do is just normal summon this, flip this to attack mode, and then that's more than enough to attack for game. But on the next turn, you've got crazy recovery. You also have access to Nightmare Pain. You have your Grave Squirmer in the graveyard. So yeah, you can easily just like kill your opponent the next turn. So that is the OCG version. So that's the OCG version. So let's quickly take a look at the TCG version. Right. So for the TCG version, it's sort of a similar deal. So you'll start with your field spell, activate its effect, destroy Phantom, special summon Yubel. You go for your Apprentice, discard card, activate Apprentice. So this time, you'll add your Mirror Swordsman. All right, so you add Mirror Swordsman, normal summon, go for Gazelle. Gazelle gets Chimera Fusion. You activate it, you fusion summon. Fusion summon, you Berfomet. All right, so you do the same thing, chaining 1, chaining 2. Gazelle this time will actually add Coatl. And then your Berfomet will send your Grave Squirmer. You activate your Squirmer. You'll special summon your Spirit's effect. You'll set Name Pain, destroy. You will add your other Squirmer, so chaining 1, 2. Field spell will special summon Incarnate. And then your Spirit of Yubel will revive your Yubel from the graveyard. All right, similar deal. So next up, you activate your Coatl. Activate your Coatl, and then you will search for another copy of Gazelle. So that is the difference with this one. Since you can't summon your Phantom of Yubel in the TCG because you don't have it, or you need some other fusion summon after you make Cross Sheep. All right, so we'll just special summon it. We'll go into Cross Sheep. Next, we'll go into Beatrice. Summon Beatrice. Beatrice effect. Send your Nemeses Flag. All right, Nemeses Flag. So now you activate this. You'll use these two as material, and then you will make your Gazelle. All right, so chaining 1, 2. All right, Gazelle. They have to discard in the end phase to special summon Nemeses Flag. Ignition effect. Use this effect to search for your Nemeses Corridor. Right, so you search for your Nemeses Corridor. All right, so slightly less advantage with this one, Nemeses Corridor. So over here, you got your options again. So you could go for Apollosa here, and then go for your Colossus, or you could go for IP Masquerena here. Yeah, you can go for IP Masquerena here, and then summon Colossus here. So I think the stronger play is trying to go for like IP Masquerena. So we'll just go for IP Masquerena. Let's put it over here. Nemesis Flag. Shuffle this back. All right, special summon it. Then we will tribute because it's a Thunder monster, and then we will special summon our Colossus. All right. So kind of similar inboard. So during your opponent's turn, right? During your opponent's turn, you can either wait for them to do something, or you could just in the draw phase, right? So they had to discard, so they're playing with 4 cards. In your opponent's draw phase, you could simply just activate your Beatrice, right? That's kind of open you up to impermanence, but they have to choose between imperming this or this, because I don't think they'll have like 2 imperms. All right, so we can activate Beatrice in the draw phase, send this to the graveyard, and then we can activate our Gazelle, activate Gazelle, and then we can chain our, chain Berfomet. Berfomet will summon back the Gazelle, and then our Gazelle will revive our barrier statue. Right, so revive our barrier statue. So now in the main phase, your targeting protection is live. So the nice thing about this one is, so let's say your opponent like normal summon something that's strong enough to attack over it. So they normal summon something, they attack over this. All right, so they go into their main phase 2. As soon as they do anything, you can chain IP Masquerena, special summon SP Lun-Gi-Oh. So chaining 1, chaining 2, target, banish something, and then your cross sheep will revive this, right? So then now they have to use a spell card or like a non-targeting effect to get rid of this. So you lock them out of the duel, and then you can protect your stuff from targeting, and they still can't search for anything. And you also have your SP Lun-Gi-Oh's secondary effect as disruption. So with this setup, even if they can attack over it, you can just go into SP, and then cross sheep will revive your barrier statue for a second time. And you also still have access to your recovery. You got your grave Squirmer in the graveyard. You can add back your Chimera Fusion. You've got Nightmare Pain to make plays with. Yeah, you got Nightmare Pain to make plays. And if this hits the graveyard, you can use its graveyard effect to revive something during your opponent's turn. So you still have a bunch of options like on top of your field. So that is the TCG version of the combo. Now let me show you a 2.5 card combo. So this is how you go from Apprentice Magician into the Chimera engine and then into the Yubel engine. So you need Apprentice, card to discard, and then any Fiend monster. Or any Fiend monster or any Illusion monster works as well. Alright, so we'll start by activating Apprentice. Discard, special summon it, trigger its effect, and then we will search for Mirror Swordsman. Then we will normal summon Mirror Swordsman. So we'll use its effect, and then we will special summon Gazelle from the deck. We'll activate Gazelle, and then we will add Chimera Fusion. Next, we will fusion summon Gazelle and the Fiend or Illusion monster in your hand into Berfomet. Berfomet will trigger, and Gazelle will trigger. So you'll search with Gazelle. So you will search for Coatl. And then Berfomet will send. So you always want to be sending Grave Squirmer, because Yubel is much easier to get into the graveyard than Squirmer. Alright, so we send the Squirmer. So what we'll do next is we will add back our Chimera Fusion. Alright, so now we will overlay into Beatrice. So when you detach, you will detach your Berfomet, and then you will send. Then you will send Phantom of Yubel to the graveyard. Next, you will banish your Squirmer, and then revive Phantom of Yubel. Then you will use its effect to set your Nightmare Pain. Right, so we'll set our Nightmare Pain. Alright, so we will activate it. Then we will use it to destroy Phantom. To add a second copy of Squirmer from the deck. Phantom will trigger. Then we'll special summon the original Yubel from the deck. Next up, we'll activate Squirmer's quick effect. So we summon it, then we'll destroy Yubel. Yubel will trigger. Then we will special summon Terra Incarnate. So we can summon it from the hand, deck, and graveyard, I think. So summon Terra Incarnate. Next up, we will use them as link material to link summon Cross Sheep. Right, we'll link summon Cross Sheep. And next we can return Yubel and Terra Incarnate, and we can special summon our Phantom of Yubel. Alright, so we can summon it in attack mode, because when we have Nightmare Pain on the field, they have to attack Yubel monsters. So when they attack it, they will also take the damage instead of us. So then we'll trigger Cross Sheep, and then with Cross Sheep, we can summon back our Gazelle, right? We'll summon back Gazelle. Now we can activate our Coatl. Activate Coatl, and we will search for Berfomet. Next up, we will activate Chimera Fusion. We'll fuse Berfomet and Gazelle into our Chimera Fusion monster. Next up, Chimera and Berfomet chaining 1, Chimera chaining 2. So they have to discard in the end phase, and then Berfomet can revive Mirror Swordsman. Right, revive Mirror Swordsman. So at this point, you can use both of them as link material, and then you can link summon. All right, so you can link summon IP Masquerena. Right. So this is kind of similar to the other combo. The only difference is that you don't actually have access to Colossus, because you couldn't actually send the Nemesis monster from the deck to the graveyard with Beatrice. But it's equally strong. All right, so now it's your opponent's turn. So you can either wait for the main phase, or you can do it now in the draw or standby phase. In the main phase, if your opponent like top decked an Imperm, then if you activate this in the draw phase or standby phase, they can just chain Imperm and then negate it. So if you want to avoid that, you can simply just wait for the main phase, wait for your opponent to do something. So you could do that. But otherwise, activate Beatrice's effect, and then we will send our Dark Barrier Statue of the Shadows, I think it's called, to the graveyard. Next up, you will activate Chimera from the graveyard. You'll banish it, and then you will chain your Berfomet's graveyard effect. So Berfomet will resolve first, and will special summon Chimera. And then Chimera's graveyard effect will resolve, and then you will special summon your Barrier Statue. So this is a very strong lock. It's a very strong lock because they can't actually attack over the Barrier Statue. They can't attack over the Barrier Statue because of Nightmare Pain, so they can't attack over it. And then also, let's say they have some like form of removal or whatever. They have some removal, and they can like get rid of it with the removal, non-targeting, because we have Coatl to protect, and then we also have our Mirror Swordsman to negate on-field like monster effects. So let's say they remove it. We could simply just use Masquerena to go into SP Little Knight, chaining 1, 2. The Knight will banish something, and then our Cross Sheep will summon it back from the graveyard. So even if your opponent has some way to get rid of it, we could simply just use Cross Sheep to summon it back, and then your opponent is still locked into special summoning only dark monsters. So very, very strong combo. And yeah, it's just like a 2.5 card combo. The other card has to be an illusion monster or a fiend monster, but in this deck there are plenty of those, and then obviously you just need like a card to discard for this. So it's actually much better than your standard like Chimera combo. That's why I prefer this Chimera Yubel deck over like a pure Yubel or a pure Chimera deck, because the combos are just much stronger. Alright, so now let's take a look at the deck list. So we'll be playing 3 copies of Apprentice, 3 copies of Coatl, 3 copies of Gazelle, 3 copies of Mirror Swordsman, 3 copies of Imp Chain, 2 copies of Grave Squirmer, 1 Gazelle, 1 Tower, 1 Barrier Statue, 1 copy of Spirit, 1 copy of Yubel, 1 copy of Terra Incarnate, 1 copy of Nemeses Flag, 1 copy of Nemeses Corridor. Yeah, so that's the monster ratio. Yeah, so all of these maxing out on them for consistency. Only 2 copies of Squirmer, because you need 2 copies for like your combo. So that's why you play 2 of them. 1 copy of Berfomet. Don't really need the 3rd copy in this version of the deck. 1 copy of Tau. It does come in handy to revive, mostly to revive Apprentice. One barrier statue, obviously, and then one copy of the Yubel cards. You don't really need more than one of them because you can just recycle them. And then for the Colossus combo, you have your flag and your Nemeses Corridor. If you don't like that combo, you could simply just take these two cards out and take Colossus out of the extra deck. And then for the spell cards, 3 copies of Nightmare Throne, 3 copies of your Patchwork, Frightfur Patchwork, 3 copies of Chimera Fusion, double Polymerization. You definitely need your fusion spell cards. I might even play like a 3rd copy of the Poly, but it's kind of hard to squeeze in to like 40 cards. 2 copies of Super Poly OCG, 1 Terraforming for the Throne, double Kobai, then 1 copy of Nightmare Throne. So this is 42 cards. If you take these 2 cards out, then it goes down to 40. This is an OCG deck list. No hand traps in the main deck because you don't really have that much space for hand traps, and you'd rather just have like more cards to discard and more cards to use for fusion materials. This deck doesn't mind going first, and it doesn't mind going second. So you're mostly just using your engine, and if your opponent does like stop you with like Maxi or something, you could simply just summon once, and then you could play on your opponent's turn because this is a quick play. You know, Super Poly is a quick play, so you are still able to play like on your opponent's turn, and definitely stop them from OTKing you. Another thing you could also do is you could also just summon this card if they maxi you, and then they can't actually like they can't Nibiru you. Or if you have your Phantom of Yubel, you could simply just like negate Nibiru. So like you don't care too much about maxi going second, and you can actually play into most boards. Yeah, you can play into most boards, even if they've got like 1 or 2 like Omni negates. You've just got like tons of gas to just try and like play through their fields. And if you hard draw Super Holly, then that just makes it much easier. So Call by the Grave is in here because you just want to negate Jordan Lockbird. That's actually just like the biggest threat. If you open with this, then you don't care too much about Jordan Lockbird because you could put Phantom of Yubel on the field before you search for anything, and then you just negate Jordan Lockbird. So no hand traps in the main deck. Put them in the side deck, or yeah, put them in the side deck, and then put in some board breakers. But with this kind of deck, I'm kind of more of a fan of just like letting the opponent do their thing, and then using the engine to just like try to just like eat through their field, essentially. Now for the extra deck, 1 Cross Sheep, 1 Masquerena, 1 Little Knight, and 1 Apollosa. So these are your link monsters. This one is incredibly important, just reviving your cards, your low level monsters, level 4 low monsters, and also for some of your combos, reviving Nemeses Flag. Uh, I think in the future this card might actually be ban worthy, to be honest, because this card in combination with like Beatrice or any card that sends to the graveyard essentially allows you to search for any lower level monster in the game. And I've like created a lot of like FTKs, especially with Manadium, utilizing this card's ability. So this card might actually be ban worthy. 1 copy of Beatrice, 1 Garura, Super Poly target. Only playing Garura, not Mud Dragon, mostly because I can use Tenpai and I can use Snake Eyes monsters to summon this card. And yeah, so the space is a little bit tight. If you choose not to play Colossus, then you could play Mud Dragon instead, making it much easier. But otherwise, 1 Mud Dragon like in the side deck. 1 copy of Chimera. In this deck, you only need like 1 because you can just summon it from the banish zone with this. This one is more important. So 2 copies of it, and also it's much easier to summon, more flexible requirements. You want Colossus for the combo. Don't necessarily have to play it. Could cut it. 2 Phantoms. Definitely need 2. Don't need 3. 2 is fine. 2 copies of Guardian Chimera. your boss monster, and then 1 copy of this version of Yubel. Now this one is very good, especially for like burning your opponent. Yeah, you can deal a lot of like burn damage with this card. Pretty crazy. On summon, usually you'll burn your opponent for I think 500 or 1,000 or something. Then when it attacks into a monster, damage step, you deal damage equal to that monster's attack, and then afterwards you can banish it. And it's fairly easy to summon. If you have a Yubel, yeah, if you have a Yubel in your hand, Yubel monster, and then any monster on your side of the field, you can just poly or something, and then you could summon this. Very easy to summon, very useful, non-targeting banishment. Very good card. Anyway, that's it for the video. If you like the video, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Peace.